There is just one thing tougher than being alive, and that's waking up. To my regret, that's what I did one day like many others. After spacing out a little bit, I scratched my head, pet my dog, ate my cereal, took a quick dum-dum, and then just went to school. One of the most boring days of my life, I will say. Like any other day, but at the end of it, I was there clicking through Netflix without the actual desire of watching something, and then I saw it. Yearning. But I skipped it. I was not interested at all. I'm not a guy who's drawn to romance movies, and it was an era where anime was starting to pique my interest, but not enough to explore my options. The first anime that I ever watched, knowing that I was watching an anime, was My Hero Academia. Of course I was going to be picky to what should I watch after that masterpiece. Not judging. In another day, in another time, I woke up again, scratched my head, pet my dog, ate my cereal, blah 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 blah. Another boring day existing until lunchtime. At lunchtime, there was my mother and my reasonable, way less intelligent younger brother sitting at the table. I remember he was talking about a movie he recently watched called Your Name. The thing is, he really sounded excited, and when he talks about something he likes, it's because he really likes that something. So I decided to give the movie a chance, and yeah, it was alright. Like, I would say that Your Name is indeed a movie, but if you ask me in like a deeper level, I would say that Your Name is the shit. Okay, after all this unnecessary intro, if you're still here, let's talk about the beauty of Your Name. This was my first approach to a non-shonen, non-seinen anime. I was all into animes with over-the-top dark backstory characters and fights with a budget of 2 sodas and a chimichanga. After saying that, for obvious reasons, it was my first encounter with any of Makoto Shinkai's movies, and till this day I have only watched the last 4 movies of his, Tenki no Ko, Suzume, and Garden of the Words, which those movies are a masterpiece of their own, but we'll talk about them in another time. But this one, my dudes, is why people must understand that animation is not a genre, it's just another medium to show cinema. The movie settles 2 opposite worlds from different backgrounds and different difficulties, but we don't know that yet. We're introduced to our nameless characters doing their daily routine talking about something. A feeling of longing, a feeling of nostalgia, a feeling of something lived, but they can't quite put their finger on it. Like a dream, you know? You feel like you remember everything the first second that you're awake, but your memories of that dream slowly starts to fade until you just remember like small little images of it. To kick off the story, our first character awakes, Mitsuha Miyamizu. In a very intelligent sequence of events, we're introduced to different persons of her life. We realize that she lives with her grandma and a little sister. She has your stereotypical anime dad and has 2 best friends, Sayaka and Tessie. She's a teenager girl who lives in the countryside of Japan and hates the boring village that she lives in, idealizing the big city of Tokyo. So basically we're talking about your average otaku who has only watched anime and that's their only knowledge of Japan. With that in mind, we jump to our next character, Taki Tachibana. Well, technically, no. You see, this is like Freaky Friday, but Japanese. Mitsuha somehow makes her soul travel to a boy's body who lives in Tokyo, Taki. But like I said, she sees this as a dream, and like before, we're introduced to more characters. Taki's dad, who only does a cameo in this movie, Tsukasa, the friend with glasses, and this guy. Oh, and let's not forget about Kudera, who's Taki's crush. And in this dream, Mitsuha spends money like crazy, works like crazy, and gets mistreated like crazy. She ends this dream thinking about the day she had in this boy's body, but it's not clear to me yet if she already has a hint that this is a reality and not a dream. And after all this, just now, we are living Taki's day through Taki's eyes. We have like a quick play of similar yesterday events now lived by Taki. At the end of this montage, Taki and Mitsuha finally realize that they are in fact living each other's life, and after that, we have one more montage. Honestly, not complaining. With the bangers they have as music, I could watch the entire movie like that. Now, we have finally settled the daily routine of each of our characters. Taki from a big city, and Mitsuha from the countryside. And for someone who has lived in both, let me tell you a little secret. Both suck. The anguish of being on the other side of the sidewalk while your bus is coming through and you're just clicking the traffic light like crazy. You can almost feel in your entire skin how the bus driver is just laughing at you. The constant noise of the city at 7 a.m. until 7 p.m. The beautiful, beautiful, gorgeous traffic. Yes, the city is a beautiful place to live in. And on the other hand, the countryside you can find literally like $678,000 per person. It smells like shit, although the city can smell like shit too. But at least in the city, you know it's just human shit. Wait, the lack of basic services like water or electricity, the lack of healthcare, and the worst public transport ever. So you literally must go to the city anyways. Anyway, this is not a trauma dump. Let's continue with the movie. One day, Taki, being Mitsuha's buddy, goes in a hike with the grandma and the little sister, and while talking, the grandma brings the subject of musubi. I honestly do believe that the grandma already suspects in this part that someone is in your granddaughter's body, because it's not like Mitsuha didn't know about musubi, right? Musubi is the flow of time, the connections and the ties. It's told with this visual that creating ties is an art, giving them shape and meaning, breaking them, molding them, unraveling them, the knotting. Do you guys remember that Mitsuha did a ritual early in this movie? The sake beverage, the traditional one, is made by fermenting rice. So you chew it and then you spit it. Okay, I might have skipped a few steps, but my point is Mitsuha did some sake. And her grandma also mentions that consuming, whether it's water or food, it joins to your soul. After having a little lunch, they reach the tomb of the god, Kakuryu, the underworld. They leave the sake inside the body, so they are basically leaving half of their souls there. Let's just wait a minute, guys. Let's just appreciate how beautiful the backgrounds are in this movie.
あんた今夢を見とるな。
Okay, after a very disappointed date with Okudera, Taki decides to call Mitsuha for the first time, I think. I don't know why they haven't called each other before that, but part of the plot, I guess. And throughout the movie, like in the background, we see that they have mentioned a comet a lot. We even see something like that in the first few minutes of the movie, so let's see what all the fuss is about. Itomori is having a festival today, and after showing her new hairstyle, closing an era, I will say, Mitsuha decides to go to see the comet. You guys remember what I said about the countryside a few minutes ago? Well, my countryside didn't look like this at all. Mine was full of horses and poop, and not in that order precisely. Well, Mitsuha sees the comet, but even though it looks precious, it breaks, and then nothing. We return to Taki, and his call didn't go through, and not only that, because after that day, they never switched bodies again. So even though I was already amazed by the animation of this movie, the beautiful backgrounds and the compelling characters, it was at this point where I got truly hooked. So from now on, Taki takes the movie. By only drawings of Itomori as a lead, he decides that he needs to go in person to meet Mitsuha to know what happened. For this journey, they are going to join him more people, Okudera and Sukesa. Traveling here and there, Taki's only clue is his drawings, asking random folks if they have seen houses next to trees, while Sukesa and Okudera are having the time of their lives. At some point, they reach a restaurant to rest. Taki is starting to believe that it must have been a dream and almost gives up, until the chef of the restaurant recognizes the drawings. But here's the plot twist. Itomori has been destroyed all this time that Taki has been switching bodies with Mitsuha. Itomori has been out of the map for the last 3 years and with most of its population. With all the hopes down, Okudera at some point asks him about the bracelet he has, a bracelet that we have seen in Taki all this time. He doesn't remember who gave it to him, but some memories start to play in his brain, and that's when he remembers the words of Mitsuha's grandma, remembering the ritual. So he leaves his friends in the middle of the night and goes back to Itomori, finding the temple that he visited as a Mitsuha. He drinks the sake because this is supposed to be part of Mitsuha's soul, and immediately after this goes in a trip. And I don't know about you guys, but I have already tried sake. Let me clarify that I don't think it was a traditional one, but I really don't know anything about alcoholic stuff. The thing is, it's strong as fuck. Anyways, with a change of style in animation, we see the backstory of Mitsuha until we realize that she in fact tried to reach out to Taki in person, and when they finally met, Taki didn't remember her at all. Typical man, am I right? Before she's taken by the crowd outside the train, she gives Taki the bracelet that we see him wear the entire movie. After that, we go back to when she cuts her hair, goes to the festival and sees the comet, and we finally see what happens. We see Taki once again waking up in Mitsuha's body, finds the grandma, and here is where she reveals, indirectly I guess, that those dreams are common in the family. So they were in fact living other people's lives when they were young. But they see them now as dreams and they don't remember anything. Just like dreams work, right? In this timeline, Taki has decided to save Itomori, so instead of staying at home like Mitsuha did that time, he goes to school and reveals to Sayaka and Tessie what is going to happen. They come up with a plan, but after not convincing the dad, Taki does his second best idea, just screaming to everyone that they are gonna die. Which we know as spectators it's true, but yeah, I honestly wouldn't believe it. After this other plan fails, Taki goes to the temple once again, trying to reach Mitsuha. And here is where the best scene of the entire movie happens. Not only because it's the first time we see Mitsuha and Taki meet in person, not only because of the beautiful landscape of the scene, not only because of the storytelling of Mitsuha and Taki trying to find each other. It's everything. It's all that. And with this last string of light, they see each other to the eye. The awkwardness of meeting your crush, the little laughs that they give to each other. Honestly guys, I wish that I can put all in words what I feel about this scene. You can just imagine me sitting all alone in the couch, giggling like stupid without realizing at all. And I wish that I can put the entire scene here for your delight, but I guess you guys must go and watch the movie for the 11th time. After passing the torch of saving Itomori down to Mitsuha, Taki suggests to write in each other's hands their names, so they never forget. Okay, so the first plan is on course, but it's not going very well, you would say. Or at least it's what they are trying to show us through the visuals. And yeah, at some point Mitsuha falls to the ground, does a few spins, and she tries to remember Taki's name, but just like I said, this is cinema. Fun fact, in Japanese folklore, love messages are protected by the moon god, which according to Google, the name is Tsukuyomi. That's why, to avoid that his name is erased, Taki just wrote I love you. But after all this, the inevitable happens. Taki wakes up and sees that in fact, Itomori is not longer there. Worst of all, he doesn't remember anything at all. We have a time skip. We see Taki taking the train. Seems like he has graduated and is looking for like a 9 to 5 kind of job. But it's Japan, probably more like 7 to 10 p.m. kind of job. And yeah, he's not doing too hot. We find ourselves at the last part of the movie and we are all waiting for the last reunion of Mitsuha and Taki. We see how our other characters are doing while Taki is distracted until they run and run, search and search until they find each other in these iconic stairs.
私も君の名前は
二人の間通り過ぎた風は
This is beautiful, man. And they even say the name of the movie. Cinema. I literally don't think you click on this video waiting for me to reveal how good of a movie this was. But I don't think that it's a bad moment to praise this movie. Already came late to the train. This movie, it's already 8 years old and looks so flawless. So flawless. After all, I think was the first introduction of Makoto Shinkai's work to the Western population. Of course, you don't develop a masterpiece out of nowhere. I do believe that between the Garden of Words and Your Name is where he settles the style of storytelling and the art style of his movies. I think people on the Western side of the world was more familiar to the Japanese animation thanks to Studio Ghibli. Ghibli. So having your own print on it is very important. Total praise to CoMix Wave because they have an outstanding talent. Look at that. And that. At this point, the art style is a trademark, and a point that I want to bring, the way they make cities and landscapes is impressive, not only in the artistic result of it, it's impressive also in the technical aspect of it. The way they use the parallax effect and the subtle help of 3D animation to make the backgrounds have more depth to it is something that is not very common in the Japanese industry. Not saying that the anime industry fears the 3D, I'm saying that it's one of the few studios who know how to actually use it and make it seamless. And like I said at the beginning, I was not a huge romance fan. I was a dumb teenage boy who almost misses out a hit. My complaints with the romance genre are quite a lot, but the one that I have to say aloud is the lack of chemistry and the lack of time the characters spend with each other to fall in love. But in this movie, I have to say it is believable, even though they just saw each other 3 times. 3 times. Yeah, we only see them in the same place for roughly 5 minutes in the movie, but they live each other's life. That's the main thing here. You know, the struggles, the routine, the laughs, the aspirations, happiness, they were tied to each other. I mean, come on, she even touched his tongue and he touched the boobas, let's be clear here. And as a Catholic man, they must get married. In the eyes of God, they are already a couple. What I'm trying to say is, I only watched this movie because I was interested in the mystical part of the plot, but I really enjoyed the connection between Mitsuha and Taki. I truly believe that their relationship is one of the best in the entire industry of entertainment, and of course one of the most iconic. And before we wrap up everything here, we cannot forget about the complementary thing that took this movie to another level: the soundtrack. RADWIMPS has done one of the best soundtracks that I have heard in my life, and they have become an essential part of Shinkai's movies because we hear them again in Weathering With You and Suzume. Someone put a monument to Yojiro Noda, please. I really had a great time rewatching this. It's gonna live forever rent-free in my mind and as one of my favorite animated movies of all time. Maybe I'll already upload another movie resume on my channel so you can go watch that, or just click on whatever is appearing here. If there's something appearing, first things first. If not, you are too early, my guy. Well, bye.